Welcome and thank you for being a listener of the Dose of Leadership podcast. Currently, we're expanding the conversations beyond just leadership into health, wealth, purpose, spirituality, relationships, and much, much more, because today's leader has to be about all of these areas to lead into the future. Hi, I'm Matt Lilly, and I'm the new host of the previous Dose of Leadership podcast, now called BriteVibe. I've owned 20 businesses over the last 30 years, and I've studied business, wealth, health, strength, spirituality, you name it, I've studied it, and I've learned that you have to grow in all these areas to be the best, well-rounded leader that you can be, not just at office, but also at home. We have an impressive lineup of speakers coming soon, so please stay tuned to the podcast. Thank you for being a listener and part of our Dose of Leadership community, and now we welcome and are excited to have you be a part of our BriteVibe podcast community. So Jennifer Partridge, welcome to the show today. We're so excited to have you on.
Thank you for having me, Matt. I'm so excited to be a part of it with you.
Yes. I love Australians. I'll say that right off the top of the show. I've only been to Australia once. I spent a couple weeks there and got to dive the barrier reef and do all that fun stuff. But I knew I was going to like Australia when I showed up to customs, because the first thing they did at customs, you know how they take your passport. And so people are coming through the line. And I had a really gruff looking kind of older bearded gentleman, and he's kind of looking at my passport, and he looks up at me and he kind of squints and he looks at my passport and he looks up at me and he squints. He says, "You take a lot better photo than you look in person." And then he just started laughing, and I laughed. I said, "I'm going to like this country." He was so sarcastic. I was like, if the first person you see is sarcastic, the rest of this is going to be all fun. So I love Australia.
That is a typical Australian thing. Totally. You caught it in one go.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you typically, what's the focus of your life right now? Kind of what's your purpose, and then how are you bringing that purpose into the world?
My purpose, when it comes to like my mission on the planet, is really sharing transformation, healing, and supporting coaches through a modality called emotional freedom technique, tapping. And it's a modality that I discovered in my own life 15 years ago, and it transformed a lot of deep trauma for me, everything from sexual abuse to a lot of kind of PTSD symptoms and things. And so it was really a big push in my life. And then over the many years, I became a coach of it, and now I've evolved that into training coaches to be certified in the method. And it's my absolute passion and love to share this method, because I know that it really goes to the root of the issues and can help really create powerful transformation.
And so let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, that no one has heard of EFT. They have no idea what it is, because I've heard of it, and I've done it once a long time ago. And actually I did have an emotional response to it. But kind of help us understand what is EFT, kind of what does it do, and how does it work?
Yeah. So it is a blend of modern psychology and Chinese medicine. So in the modern psychology, if you've ever been to a coach or a therapist, you talk about your challenges, your emotions, your perceptions, your childhood, things like that. So in a session, you're talking about your issues. But what makes it different is you start percussively tapping on specific meridian points. So in the same way in acupuncture, they would place a needle on a specific point to clear out stagnation, charge, blocks that are creating dis-ease in the body. So instead of placing needles on these points, we tap on these points, and these points start clearing out as you start breathing and talking about your emotions. And then you start bringing in a lot of love and empathy into all of these fear-based programs, and it starts to rewire the memory in your nervous system from when the trauma took place or those earlier imprints took place. And then it also supports you in rewiring your brain, because when a trauma or something challenging or even a perception got imprinted on you as a child, those wirings get set up and they're just shooting back and forth on autopilot. So in tapping, if it is a fear-based thought, you go in and you start bringing that fear love, and they've shown on a scientific level that you're able to actually rewire the neural pathways in your brain, which basically change your behavior patterns, change how you perceive reality, and actually change how you feel as well. So you're basically working on rewiring the brain, resetting the nervous system, clearing out all of that heaviness that you've been carrying around with you, and then creating a new dimension and a new reality for yourself.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff right there. Now,
all in one.
Now you're talking about changing the neural pathways in the brain, but you're not. I mean, for clarity, you're not tapping on your brain specifically, right? You're tapping on. Now, why are you tapping on different? Because you were kind of on the podcast. If you obviously you're not be able to see on the podcast, but you're tapping on different. As you were talking, you were tapping on different parts of your body, your shoulders and your hands, some things like that. So why are you tapping? And when we say tapping, I mean you're just. What exactly are you doing when you say tapping?
Yeah. So in acupuncture, so the points that you are tapping on are connected mainly to the organs inside of your body. So in Chinese medicine, each organ holds a different emotion. Mm-hmm. So when you're tapping, you're actually tapping on these points that are also clearing out the stagnation of those emotions that are living inside your organs. So on the Chinese medicine perspective of the modality, you're clearing out the emotions from the organs as well as the energy lines, the meridian lines that are bringing in those emotions. And then on the psychological side, or even the neuroplasticity side, when you are bringing love and empathy to fear-based thoughts, they've shown that, say you've got two synapses in the brain that are just shooting back and forth, one to the other, like something happens in your outside reality, like your partner says, I'm not coming home till later tonight. And then all of a sudden, like some abandonment, like fear comes up inside your brain, which has actually got wired in when your father left or something. And so now you have just like more of you start seeing life through that filter. So when something else happens in your life that might trigger that pathway to awaken in your brain and trigger the emotional response, the habit responses and things like that. So what they're showing in the test is when you open up those pathways and you bring attention to them, okay, there's fear around abandonment going back and forth. It's creating these emotional patterns. And basically the synapses are glued in place and they're just like back and forth. So when you start bringing love, empathy, and compassion, what they're showing is there's these protein bonds, kind of like the glue that glues it all in place, the synapses. The protein bonds start to melt away, like the scaffolding starts to melt away, and then the synapses opens up. And then when the synapse opens up, then you can rewire the brain. You can reroute it to a new belief. So then you can choose, and it's all happening through love, compassion, and empathy. So as you actually see the old situation through love and compassion and empathy, automatically you're gaining wisdom. And as you gain the wisdom and you open it up, you can now say, okay, well, now I'm going to see through trust, or I'm going to see through a deeper place of wholeness inside. I'm going to see this situation through a place of knowing that I'm actually safe. And then you set up those new beliefs, you rewire them, and now you have a new pattern inside your brain, also informing you how to experience your life and your reality.
Okay. And so then you're tapping on these energy. So the tapping that you're doing on the energy centers would be specific to whatever emotion or whatever experience I'm having that's not serving me. Is that?
Yeah, so back in the very, very early days of tapping, when it first began, they used to do like a lot of muscle testing, like, what one should I tap on to clear out this emotion and things like that. And they realized later on in the method as it evolved that it was actually so much easier just to tap all the points, because the emotions, the emotions move as well. So like 1 minute you're angry and the next minute you're sad and the next minute you're in fear. So versus like testing each one, to find out, okay, now that I've got fear, which one do I tap on and all of that, they just realize that it's actually quicker just to go through all of the circuitry over and over and over again as you do a session. And so you're hitting all of the points and all of the emotional connections to all those points as you continue to do circuits of it.
And then how many points did you say? Did you say there were specific like 8 or 9 points, or is it more than that? Thank you for listening to the BriteVibe podcast today. We've got a special event coming up here shortly, July 12th through the 16th, called the Global Happiness Summit. And we're bringing resources from around the country together to talk about happiness and what that means and how to have more of that in our lives. Go to BriteVibe.com, BRITE Vibe, VIBE.com for more information about the Global Happiness Summit. And we look forward to seeing you July 12th through the 16th.
Yeah, so each method has a different set of points. So I particularly use 13 points, and some of them use 9 points. The earlier days, it was like 13 or 14 points because I use all the hand points as well. But some people do not use the hand points. They'll just use a basic circuitry of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they just do these circuits.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I use the hand circuits, which was a little bit more in the earlier days. And I think as it evolved, people were getting confused, like, which part of the finger am I tapping on? And they just took out the hand. And I actually like to keep the hand in because the hand actually includes a lot of other organs that the simpler circuit doesn't include. So by using the hand points, I'm touching more of the organs and the emotions connected to those organs.
Interesting. And so walk us through a client, a client interaction or something, some examples. Help us understand, or help me understand some examples of kind of a person that came to you. Here's what they were dealing with, and then kind of what was the actual. Actually, here in a little bit, I think I'm just going to have you help me demonstrate, or you can kind of walk me through and I can do whatever, right? So that we can actually have an experience, or you can show us and walk through it so that we're actually able to integrate.
Beautiful. I love that.
We like to have fun on this show. Sometimes I wear costumes. Sometimes we dance. No, I'm kidding.
I was like, this is my kind of show.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, I'm in a big white polar bear suit. If you're listening on the podcast, then everybody will want to click over to YouTube real quick. Say, is he really wearing a white polar bear? No, I'm not. So if you can, give us a couple examples of just what somebody was dealing with, struggling with, why they were struggling with it, and then what was the process, how many sessions. I mean, just kind of walk us through, because it's very fascinating. So I'm just trying to get to kind of a deeper understanding of the
absolutely
a little bit of not only what you're dealing with, but then also the kind of does it take one session? Does it take two sessions? I mean, kind of, help us understand that.
So you can go as deep as you want with tapping, everything from severe PTSD trauma. There's a lot of work that happens with war veterans who have really suffered from obviously the things that they've seen, and they're showing in 5 to 10 sessions that PTSD that they've had for 20 or 30 years is disappearing. So working with war veterans, for me, one of my earlier passions, because of my own work around it within my own life, was working with sexual trauma victims and actually bringing them out of that victim state and into like being empowered in their own learning and healing around it. And then there's all the way into high performance, success coaching, dealing with motivation, lack of motivation, self-love, self-worth, addiction. There's many different types of challenges that people would bring to tapping. For the more intense challenges that people are working on, if you're working with some really deep, like on the deeper side of abuse, like I've worked with some clients who have been kidnapped, for example, in Africa, and had a bag put over their head and not able to see the light of day for 10 days. And, so those types of situations, those extreme cases require more time because there's so much trauma locked into it. And that could be over 12 sessions. It could be over 6 months for the more intense ones. And then you have people that are working on, they just want to do better in their business, and they want to attract more clients, and they want to have more success, and they want to feel more motivated and energized, and they want to wake up in the morning and just like jump out of bed and feel on top of the world. And you could do a 20-minute tapping session for that, and you're ready for the day.
Really?
And so, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I actually have a tap on my YouTube channel called Have the Best Day Ever. And it's a 20-minute tap, and it just like aligns you for the day. And I also have a program on Mind Valley. And one of the things that we do in that program is every morning they have a 15-minute tapping practice to just choose what they want to feel that day and clear out any of their fears for the day. Because sometimes if you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I got all this stuff that I got to do, and you already feel the pressure, you're going to like start the day and start spiraling already. So if you start the day and clear out, okay, what are my fears? Let's clear out the fears for the day. Now what do I want to create for the day? And then you align yourself to that. Then everything is so much more open to create more of that joy, more of that flow, more of that ease, that self-love, that self-worth that we're all looking for on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, you can really go from all extremes depending on what you're looking for. And that's why I love for myself now that my main focus is working with coaches and mentors and mystics and healers and giving them the tools for tapping, because I know that it can help so many. And there was a point where I was trying to help so many people and really running an online business and doing live workshops and helping many different demographics. And then I realized if I really want to touch as many people as possible, then like train the trainers, train the healers, so that they can take this method and help, because the world, so much of the world needs support right now. And I know that tapping can help in that way.
Very interesting. And so you talked about this 15 to 20 minute tapping to kind of set your day. Can you kind of walk us through maybe an abbreviated version of that? And like, I'll literally do it. I mean, you can kind of, we'll just kind of.
Perfect.
Well,
okay,
just so that it kind of, and then I'll explain, while I'm doing it, I'll explain what I'm doing. So that way, if you're listening on the podcast versus seeing the video, I'll actually say, okay, here's what I'm doing. And I'm starting to cry, or I'm levitating off the floor now. And I'm starting to,
Beautiful. Love it. Okay, so we have an option with this. Okay. One is I can lead you through a session and you can say your responses out loud. Yeah. Or I can lead you through a session and you can say your responses in your mind, and then the rest of the people listening can also go through it as well. It's up to you. How would you like to experience it?
I think I'll lifetime say here's my experience, and then people could walk with me through it. That way. Okay, perfect, great, awesome. That way, if they're not doing it, then they can kind of get what the experience could be, and if they are doing it, then they can kind of decide, well, he had this, maybe I had that. That way, they don't have to guess what I'm. Okay, beautiful,
awesome, great. So what we're gonna do is, how long would you like it to run for?
You tell me. I want.
10 to 12 minutes, something like that?
Perfect.
Okay, cool.
Let's do
perfect, great. So for the purpose of this session, we're going to skip the hand points just so I don't have to explain them all. We'll just do this circle. You can follow along with me. And
before we get started, I would like to invite everybody who's listening to the podcast to just do it with us, right? Just do it with us. You know, if you're driving, it should be a fun experience, but let's just all do it together, right? I mean, versus me just doing it in studio and you tell me. I would challenge, encourage, invite whoever's listening right now or whoever's watching. Let's just do it together and see what happens, right?
Okay, cool, awesome. All right, so to start with, we're just going to place one hand on our belly and one hand on our chest, and we're going to tune into the day ahead of us. And what's happening in the day ahead of us, what's coming up. And I want you to tune into anything that feels a little like, oh, will that be okay? Will I be able to get through that? Or that's going to be hard, or I'm nervous about that, or what if? Tune into any part of the day that might be the biggest block for you right now. Okay, and then I'm going to ask you to massage underneath the collarbone, and then I'm going to do a call and response. So I'm going to say something out loud and you're going to repeat after me. And if you don't know what you feel, I'm going to give you some words, and occasionally I'm going to ask you what you feel, okay?
Okay, and for the people listening, I'm taking my fingers and I'm touching my collarbone, and I'm just kind of
underneath the collarbone.
Underneath the collarbone. So I'm rubbing. Oh yeah, that's different. Yeah, there's almost like a sore spot for me.
Exactly. That's exactly.
And I'm rubbing under the collarbone, kind of where my shoulders kind of. I can kind of touch the shoulders with my thumb, but I'm rubbing under my collarbone, and it kind of is sore. It kind of is achy. So
actually, this is actually called the sore spot.
Oh, there we go. So I'm not just completely making this up. I want people to know that. This is
where we store a lot of our emotions, so it can be very tender to touch. Yeah. Okay, so I want you to tune into your day, and I want you to now zoom into that part that you're a little nervous about. And then just take a long, deep breath, release a big sigh. And tune into that again, tune into that block that's there. Let yourself feel the discomfort of that. Like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. I just don't have the bandwidth. It's too overwhelming. I can't get there. It's too much, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then on a scale of 0 to 10, how intense is it for you? 10 being the most intense.
Well, it's not very intense for me, I'll be honest. It's like a 2.
Okay, that's all right.
It's like a 2.
You
I'm
got a good
sorry.
day ahead of you. You got a good day ahead of you.
I'm having so much fun with you on the podcast, so it's hard for me to. But Troy, where are you at? I'm gonna ask our producer in studio.
Okay, well
Troy's at a 7. Troy's at a 7.
Okay, perfect. All right, Troy's at a 7. All right, we're gonna check in with Troy.
Okay.
And if you want, Matt, you can choose something maybe this week that might be a block for you.
All right. Let me.
Okay, find something else for this week.
Okay, I'll find something else this week. Okay. Or a situation I'm dealing with. Is that good?
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
All right, now I think I'm. Although the soreness seems to be going away, I think I can get to a 6 or a 7.
Okay, good. Let's get you more triggered.
Let's get Matt more unhappy today on the show.
Yeah, exactly. How can I make you more unhappy? All right. Let's just tap the center of the chest now.
Okay, so I'm just tapping.
Tuning into that issue. You're in the middle of the chest.
And I'm just taking my 4 fingers and I'm just kind of tapping, or like I would be tapping on a desk type thing. Okay.
Yeah. And then just repeating after me, even though I'm really nervous about, and tell me what you're nervous about out loud.
Even though I'm really nervous about supporting my spouse.
I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
Even though it makes me feel what? What does it make you feel?
Even though it makes me feel anxious.
I'm still a good human being.
I'm still a good human being.
And I'm still worthy of love.
And I'm still worthy of love.
Even though it makes me anxious.
Even though it makes me anxious.
And I don't know how to do it completely.
And I don't know how to do it completely.
I don't know how to fully support her.
I don't know how to fully support her.
And part of me has been blaming myself.
And part of me has been blaming myself.
Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Release a big sigh. Tapping between the brows, in the middle of the brow points.
Okay.
I love and deeply accept myself.
I love and deeply accept myself.
Exactly as I am.
Exactly as I am.
Even if I can't fully support her.
Even if I can't fully support her.
Tapping the temples. Even if I'm having trouble knowing what to do.
Even if I'm having trouble knowing what to do.
Even if I fail at supporting her.
Even if I fail at supporting her.
I'm still a good human being.
I'm still a good human being.
Tapping the cheeks, and I'm still worthy of love.
And I'm still worthy of love.
Even though I'm afraid that I'll let her down.
Even though I'm afraid that I will let her down.
Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Release a big sigh. Tapping underneath the nose. It's understandable that this makes me scared and anxious.
It's understandable that this makes me scared and anxious.
Tapping underneath the lips. It's understandable I feel scared about this.
It's understandable that I feel scared about this.
It's understandable I've been feeling not good enough.
It's understandable that I've been feeling not good enough.
Because she's been struggling.
Because she's been struggling.
And just feel into your struggle around her struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And let yourself feel any discomfort around it, anything that's coming up, any fear, any anxiety, any worry that's there, any hopelessness, whatever's there. Just lean into the discomfort of it in your body. Feel what it feels like. Let yourself feel uncomfortable just for a moment. Let yourself really get on the edge of that discomfort. And then take a long, slow, deep breath into the discomfort and release a big sigh. Tapping the center of the chest. It's possible I can get through this.
It's possible that I can get through this.
It's possible I can let go of this fear.
It's possible that I can let go of this fear.
I really want to let go of this fear.
I really want to let go of this fear.
And what is the fear about? What, just say the fear out loud?
The fear is letting her down. The fear is her being disappointed.
This fear
of
letting her down. All of this fear that I have is making the situation worse. Tapping the front of the ribs where the ribs jut out the most. All of this fear that I'm going to let her down. I really don't want 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 to let her down. And I'm scared I'm going to let her down. I'm really nervous about this. Take a big, deep breath into all that fear. Release a sigh. Tapping the side of the ribs. It's possible she's going to be okay. And then come back to tapping on the top of the head. And I can carry all this fear if I want. I can carry all of this anxiety around letting her down. For as long as I want to. I never have to let go of all of this anxiousness. I never have to let go of this anxious feeling. Part of me thinks it's protecting me. Just feel how you're holding on to that anxiousness as a way to try to take care of her or to do the right thing. But just feel how it's actually creating more chaos in your field. And take a long, slow, deep breath into that. Release a sigh. Beautiful. Tapping between the brows again. It's possible all of this fear and anxiety isn't helping the situation. Tapping the temples. It's possible it's creating more challenges in the situation. It's possible it's taking away my power. Tapping the cheeks. It's possible holding on to this anxiety isn't protecting me. And it's not protecting her. It's making it worse. And just feel how holding on to that anxiety is actually just creating even more chaos, even more disconnection, even more challenge. And then just take a long, deep breath into that. Release a sigh. Tapping underneath the nose. I never have to let go of this challenge. This anxiety around it. Tapping underneath the lips. That part of me thinks I'll be better if I let it go. Part of me thinks I'll have more energy and resources to show up if I let it go. And that's what I really want. I really want to be in my power. Tapping the center of the chest. I really want to be in my power.
I really want to be in my power.
I want to show up in my power.
I want to show up in my power.
In my presence.
In my presence.
In my availability.
In my availability.
In my confidence.
In my confidence.
In my love.
In my love.
And how else do you really want to show up?
As a supporter, as a strong supporter, and compassionate and caring and kind and loving.
I really want to show up as a strong supporter.
I really want to show up as a strong supporter.
And show my care.
And show my care.
My love.
My love.
My compassion.
My compassion.
To help her through this.
To help her through this.
Take a long, deep breath in. Tapping the front of the ribs. It's possible I can do this.
It's possible that I can do this.
I have everything I need right here.
I have everything I need right here.
To show up with deep love, compassionate support.
To show up with deep love, compassionate, and support.
Take a big, deep breath in. I'm tapping into more of my power now.
I'm tapping into more of my power now.
And I'm letting the anxiety dissolve.
And I'm letting the anxiety dissolve.
Tapping the side of the ribs and showing up with more of my compassionate strength.
I am showing up with more of my compassionate strength.
I can do this.
I can do this.
I'm ready to do this.
I'm ready to do this.
I was designed to do this.
I was designed to do this.
This level of presence and love.
This level of presence and love.
This level of deep compassion.
This level of deep compassion.
Deep listening.
Deep listening.
Availability.
Availability.
Openness.
Openness.
Support.
Support.
Inner strength.
Inner strength.
Alignment.
Alignment.
Compassion.
Compassion.
And what else is there for you that wants to come through in the situation?
Unconditional love.
Tapping the top of the head. Unconditional love.
Unconditional love.
I've got this.
I've got this.
I'm ready to do this.
I'm ready to do this.
This is who I truly am.
This is who I truly am.
I am unconditional love.
I am unconditional love.
This is who I truly am.
This is who I truly am.
I am unconditional love.
I am unconditional love.
Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Release a sigh. Beautiful tapping between the brows. And I want you to now just imagine that you're showing up with this deep, unconditional love, this compassion, this inner strength, this alignment, this ability to be present and listen and hold space and connect to your unique inner truth, your unique inner connection to love, to spirit, to wholeness, to feel that field right now that is you, that is your true embodiment. And I want you to feel that true embodiment in your field right now, that is who you are. And I want you to feel all and how good that feels in your body to tap into that within yourself. And as you feel your whole being, your whole energy field magnify with that level of presence and depth and inner connection, and I want you to feel how strong your field gets in that space. And I want you to imagine yourself in a bubble right now where that is your field. That is such a beautiful, deep, strong, authentic, compassionate, understanding, aligned field of energy in your being. And now I want you to imagine her coming into that field with you and you just consistently holding that energy in the field, in her field. tapping the temples. And what starts to happen to her energy as she enters that field with you? I want you to describe that.
She releases stress. She releases the heaviness. She feels supported, and that allows her to let go of the anxiety and the fear and the grief that she's experiencing.
I'm holding this field for her and for me.
I'm holding this field for her and for me.
Tapping the cheeks because we're both worthy of this.
Because we're both worthy of this.
I'm holding this field right now.
I'm holding this field right now.
I've got this.
I've got this.
Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Release a sigh. I'm doing such a good job.
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 I'm becoming more and more powerful and present.
I am becoming more and more powerful and present.
Tapping underneath the nose. This can feel natural and easy now.
This can feel natural and easy now.
I'm allowing this to be natural and easy.
I'm allowing this to be natural and easy.
And feel into any final parts that might not think that this is natural or easy. Just feel your resistance to those. And then take a long, slow, deep breath into that resistance. Hold it in compassion. Hold it in love. And release a big sigh. Tapping underneath your lips. I love and deeply celebrate myself.
I love and deeply celebrate myself.
And I'm doing such a good job.
And I'm doing such a good job.
And I'm such a good husband.
And I'm such a good husband.
I'm so loving and caring and compassionate.
And loving and caring and compassionate.
Caring
and compassionate.
I'm a really good husband.
I'm a really good husband.
I'm a really good man.
I'm a really good man.
And I'm a really good human being.
And I'm a really good human being.
And I have a big, beautiful heart.
And I have a big, beautiful heart.
And I love myself deeply.
And I love myself deeply.
Big, deep breath. And then just resting one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest right now. And I would just want you to feel that field that we tuned into a moment ago. That field that is connected to your spirit, your alignment, your power. And I want you to feel that alignment right now. Feel how your whole reality transforms in this alignment. Feel the realities around you shifting as you shift. Feeling the light pouring in. And take a long, slow, deep breath in. Feel your whole energy fill up with light. Hold the breath for a moment. Exhale slowly. And then just rub your hands together, create a little heat in your palms. And I want you to just imagine your big, beautiful, compassionate, unconditional, loving, kind heart. Feeling all the heat in your palms right now. And now just place it again on your belly and one hand on your chest. And just feel gratitude for yourself. And let that gratitude now just overflow into the relationship with your partner. Letting her feel your gratitude for this opportunity to grow and evolve, and for the mirror that she is for you and that you are for her. And feeling the gratitude for both of your evolution now. To know yourselves and love yourselves more deeply together. And now just tuning into that anxiety that you had at the start. What number was it at the start?
It was
And
six or seven, yeah.
and what is the anxiety number now?
0 or 1.
Hmm. Beautiful. And then if you had one thing that you could just share with your wife right now as a message to her, something from you to her, what would you want to tell her?
I'm here for you. I'm here for you forever, and I support you in everything that you do and everything we do together.
Hmm. Yay. Beautiful. Yes. Mm. And just whenever you're ready, just opening your eyes, coming out. How are you feeling?
I feel good.
Mhm.
I feel like I could use a nap too.
That happens a lot.
Is that right? I didn't realize that. I
Yes.
didn't realize that till I opened my eyes. I was like, oh gosh. Yeah, Troy
Yeah.
fell asleep in the studio. Troy was out.
Okay. Yeah. It's actually very interesting because emotion is very heavy. So
Yeah.
it can make us very sleepy. And one of the things that often happens in a session is you start yawning a lot.
Uh-huh.
Because it's called off gassing and tapping, and you're seeking to oxygenate the brain, and that's all part of the rewiring and bringing prana back into your body, because the emotions are very heavy and they can make you very sleepy. And also sometimes when someone starts to fall asleep in a session, it's their subconscious's way of shutting off because it's a lot to look at. And so if I'm working with a client, they start to get sleepy, we'll do different things to bring the energy up, because sometimes the defense mechanism is like, oh, well, I'll just go to sleep and I don't need to look at it.
Right.
Versus knowing that it's safe to look at it and it is heavy, but we're going to breathe through it and we're going to move through it. And then at the end, that will be cleared.
Nice. And so when we started, I felt like when we were at the collarbone, I felt like a lot of heat actually between my shoulders on the back and my back. I felt like heat for a little while, and then like just a lot of, I don't know, just like heat or intensity. And then the thing that was interesting was, as we were tapping, I started underneath the lips. For me, there was a lot of emotion that came up, a lot of sadness, a lot of compassion, a lot of just feeling that sadness in that space, feeling my sadness, her sadness, whatever that was. But yeah, and then the second round, it wasn't, I didn't feel the sadness then when we came back.
Okay, beautiful.
Came back to that same spot. So, and it felt very cleansing in the way of, like, when I'm patient enough to actually do meditation or sit in meditation, it was kind of that space of just, there was kind of a peace or just kind of a relief in it, I guess, kind of like similar, maybe getting a massage or something. There's just kind of like this kind of peace to it. And then when you were talking about the energy field, I did have a very strong visual kind of imagery going about kind of that bubble. It was kind of like a green, like a light green bubble that was kind of, I don't know, probably 3-4 feet around me, all the way around like an egg. And so so there was kind of that sense of that too. So it was just very interesting. Yeah, it was very interesting. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love to see that. Yeah. So some of the meditations that I like to put into the practice as well, because traditional tapping doesn't necessarily have visualization, like the meditations and things, but because I have a background in being a meditation teacher and studying some of the other methods like NLP and stuff, so I bring those in, and I really do feel like they really help us integrate as well, especially after you've cleared some emotion. Sitting in a visualization or a meditation just to really help enhance that new energy that you want to cultivate for your energy field and those new beliefs that you want to bring in as well. So yeah, it's beautiful to feel that you had that picture of that egg around you, and the green color as well, which is really the heart chakra, the green color. So yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I had not put that together. I mean, I studied that and heard that a long time ago, but I didn't even think about the heart chakra being kind of the green chakra color. So I was like, oh yeah, that is interesting. Very cool. Well, and thank you for just doing that. I mean, thank you for my session, my therapy session today, or my tapping session.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to set it up so everyone can do it, but I was like, well, we're here together. You're going through something. We should really go there.
Right, and I appreciate that. And it felt like that there was some intuitiveness from your side in the language and the words you were using. I mean, you were obviously asking me some things, but it felt like that there was. I'm assuming with different people, there's different language that you're using, kind of based on what you're feeling or being present with that person. Is that accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just tuning into the aspects of the story that they share, and then there's an intuitive aspect of okay, so based on that story, what emotions would be coming up around that story, and what's some of the thoughts that might come up around that story, and then offering those to tap on and to clear.
Very cool. Well, yeah, that's very cool stuff. So how do people find out more about tapping, you're specifically, but then also in general? I mean, there's obviously people that do this other than just you, but are there what resources, I guess, are out there for people to lean into, or if they want more information specifically about you, but then just about so they can learn more about tapping in general? What would be some good resources?
Absolutely. Well, to starters, with me, you can always go to my website, which is just jenniferpartridge.com.
Okay.
And there's so much content on there. We have like a free tapping basics course where if you did want to learn about like some of the basics of tapping, the science, where to tap, how to tap, we have a free program on there that you could sign up for. So there's some resources. I also do coaching certifications as well. And then, there's a lot of content online. You can go to YouTube, you can Google tapping. There's so many different kinds of tapping as well. There's the World Tapping Summit that happens once a year as well, which has lots of different tapping coaches on. And you can, if you just wanted to do sessions, you can just YouTube it and you can see lots of sessions on there. And then on my newsletter, once a week, we send out a tapping video to our whole audience. And there's so much online. There's a lot of science. Dawson Church is one of the guys that leads the charge with a lot of the scientific studies around tapping as well, in terms of the pathways in the brain, PTSD around war veterans, a lot of different types of tests and things. So he's a really amazing resource for the science around tapping. And there's people that specialize in specific niches of tapping, and there's a whole world out there.
It's always amazing to me to learn new things like that. And then I think before the show, you'd mentioned you've got a 6-month tapping certification that's coming up starting in, you said late June or July?
Yes, so we have we've got our early bird opening up on the 28th of July.
Oh, okay.
So the program actually starts on the 1st of October, but we've got early bird opening, and it's a 6-month program. We're actually just wrapping up one of our programs now. We just had our last class of the 6 months last week, so
nice.
we're in a big celebration around that, and we're going to get ready for the next one. But it's a really beautiful program for coaches, mentors, mystics, healers, people that want to help the world and are looking for ways and tools. And we really share over a 6-month period not only how to master the technique yourself, how to do it on yourself, how to have your own healing practice, and then how to heal others. And then we also show you how to build your own business around it, how to create your client roster, how to build your online presence. So it's a business mastery along with the tapping mastery together, because one of the things that we definitely saw with a lot of healers and coaches is, there's so many amazing methods out there, and building a business is an important aspect of it as well. So we include that inside the training, and then of course the method, and we go super deep into different niches and different topics around tapping. Some of the things that I mentioned today, the PTSD, even suicide prevention, and working with abuse, all the way into success coaching, money coaching, and self-love and things like that. So there's lots of different niches we go into, and then the technique itself.
That's cool. That's really cool. And so, that's super. So, and this is all would be available, like information about that is on your website, the jenniferpartridge.com. Okay, perfect. So
Yeah, if you just go jenniferpartridge.com/coaching.
coaching. Okay. And then that'll be about that. So, because we do have a lot of our listeners are in the coaching space. And so that would be a valuable resource, or at least go check it out and see if you think it'd be a resource to your existing business, or create, like you said, creating your own business. So that's amazing. And I mentioned before the show, we do have our Global Happiness Summit coming up July 12th through the 18th. I'd love you to come back, do a live,
Love it.
maybe we just do a live tapping session with the whole audience. We're going to have, somewhere around 50,000 people that will attend over 5 days. And, let's have, a couple hundred or a couple thousand people in your tapping session. I think that would be cool to do. Like, do you do group tapping sessions? I mean, is that something?
I do actually. Yeah. Actually, every 2 weeks I do a free, it's called a live tapping experience. So we could do something similar.
Yes.
And it's we do every 2 weeks a 90-minute free live tap, and it's like all for the audience. So we all get on Zoom together. Everyone's cameras are on, and everyone's processing and crying. And
I love it. And we'll mail tissues to everybody before the tapping, right?
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yes, it's definitely tissues are needed for sure.
I love it.
But it's beautiful to heal in community and to share our vulnerability in community. So it would be my absolute honor to be a part of that with you.
Perfect. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you this July, and then certainly that'll just be right before you kick off your 6-month coaching. So if you really like it, once you experience it at the Happiness Summit, then join her for her deeper dive. I think that would be awesome. So
nice.
Yes. Well, thank you. I know you're in Mexico today, and I know you're headed to Europe, and you've been in the States, so you're quite the world traveler. So we really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show today and spend some time. And I appreciate, on a personal level, you letting me experience the gifts that you have and that you're passionate about and you're giving to the world. So thank you so much for coming on the show today.
And thank you for just sharing your vulnerability and your openness and your authenticity with your process today as well. It's a real honor to witness that, and you sharing that with your audience. So thanks for trusting me to support you through that too.
Thank you. Well, we look forward to seeing you again.
Yay, me too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being a part of the BriteVibe podcast. For more information, go to BriteVibe.com. That's BriteVibe.com. Thank you for listening.